here to take over the rest of the action, ladies and gentlemen. It's a man who needs no introduction. Please welcome the one and only John Stember.
All right, thanks, Tommy, very much. Hey, everybody, great to see you. We're glad you're here. Toyota's honored to be a part of this. We're going to start out. We got some special guests. Any fans of drag racing out there, make a little noise. We like fast cars, folks. If you like cars with 1,000 horsepower, that's nice. But this guy I'm going to bring up here, that's little small. We're talking 11,000 horsepower. He drives the NAPA Auto Parts GR Supra. He is new to the Toyota racing family, but not new to you. The two-time world champion funny car driver and current world champion. Let's give a nice round of applause to Ron Capps. How about it? All right, Ron. Hey, man. They give you a mic? Let's use this one. There you go, bud.
Check, check.
All right. Welcome in, man. You got all the way from California and first power tour, right?
First one, yeah.
What do you think, buddy?
Listen, growing up as a kid and reading about it and finally getting to show up. I flew in last night to Nashville or yesterday and then hooked up with everybody. And then I got to drive that killer, one of the two twin-looking Supras over there. We call it the Eddie Van Halen look.
Nice.
But, yeah, I got to drive that. So today I got to cruise with a bunch of people in different cars. So if you saw that Supra, that was me in there, and I just having a blast all by myself, just cruising down the road.
Let me ask you, did you have a radar detector?
No.
Did not? All right, okay, so.
I got Google, though. Google lets you know.
Google lets you know. All right, everybody, let me ask you a question. Who here in the audience has ever been to an NHRA event? Can I see your hand? Been in our... Good, we got a lot of drag race fans. Excellent. Ron, do me a favor now. A lot of folks, we see power out here. You know, we're talking to folks like, man, I got 1,000 horsepower in my Dodge Demon. That's great. But now you're talking about 11,000 horsepower is the G's you're feeling. Take us inside a run. 3 seconds, over 300 miles an hour. It's unbelievable. Take us inside the car.
Well, we were just talking, I was talking with this guy over here, and he, you know, you got to imagine, you try to compare what 11 or 12,000 horsepower is. And, you know, I've got some great teammates. I've got Chase Elliott on the NASCAR side, Alexander Rossi, Brad Sweet, World Outlaws. And it's always fun to get around those guys because one cylinder on my car makes more than any of their engines. In fact, it probably makes, some of them combined, 2 engines. One cylinder, if you can imagine. So when you get into one of these funny cars, you step on the gas, these are basically the 4 cylinders on each side are little rocket ships, and they're angled up. If you look at the funny car, the exhaust, the headers, they're aimed up and back a little bit. So when I step on the gas, I'm from a standing stop, I'm going 0 to 100 miles per hour in less than 1 second. So you hear cars brag about 0 to 60 and 0 to 100. I go, and that happens, by the way, in about 60 feet. Guy in the blue shirt, raise your hand. From me to you, I'm going 100 miles an hour from a standing stop in a race car. Now imagine that. Now I've watched it from the outside, and nothing compares. And you get those stats thrown at you, and these are numbers. I mean, it's what we read off the timestamps. And it actually happens 0.8 of a second, so way less than 1 second. And it's about 5.5, 6 Gs forward, right? And believe it or not, when I step on the gas, it's about 5.5, but the Gs actually go up about where that pickup is. The clutch starts to come in. And generally on a racetrack, it's a little bit warm. They've got to slide that clutch. You've got 11,000 horsepower. You've got these big Goodyear tires, but you've got to slide that clutch to get it going. And when you see a car smoke the tires early, too much power too soon. So the ideal thing is you slide it, you get it going, and then they start applying the clutch. And believe it or not, the G-forces actually go up about 1.5 seconds into the run.
And how many G-forces we're talking now, Ron?
6.5. So it's more than anything on the planet Earth except for a fighter pilot. More than Space Shuttle. Space Shuttle pilots go max about 5.3, 5.4. Now, when we get down to the end of the run, 3.8 seconds, and I deploy the parachutes, I've got a button on the steering wheel, and I actually hit that button about a football field before I get to the finish line. So when I see it coming about a football field away, I'll hit the button, because by the time I hit the button, the air system pulls the cable out of the parachutes in the back, and the parachute spring pops out and pulls the chutes. I've gone 2 football fields.
Wow.
So I've got to hit that way ahead of time. When they pop, it's -8 or -9 Gs.
So now we're just flipping backwards. We're at the pull, -8.
Your head weighs 8 times the weight, and that's why the Hans devices, the neck devices that we wear, are so important. Both during the run, I have a strap that holds my helmet from going back, and you cannot hold your head forward.
Wow.
I've had the strap break, and you just physically can't do it at 5.5, 6 Gs. Same thing when we pull the parachutes. Those tethers in the back save our necks, or try to save our necks.
Wow.
So it goes a lot of different emotions, a lot of sounds, a lot of vibration, a lot of things in 3.8 seconds. And when you're on a really good run, it takes me back to one of the early Star Wars or Battlestar Galactica movies when they went into hyperspace and all those lines just shine back, except right in the center. And right where I'm looking, it's perfectly clear, and it's not a very big circle, and everything else becomes a complete blur.
Wow.
And it's almost like time travel. It just catapults you. So there's a lot going on. And you wonder, we always joke, I mean, we were talking about John Force and his crazy interviews. We don't have the luxury like NASCAR drivers of winning a race and then doing a victory lap and doing a burnout, collecting your thoughts, getting a drink of water, and then getting your act together before you do your interview. We literally make that run with all those G-forces, positive, negative.
Yep.
We turn off, right? And as soon as we pop out of the top of that car, guess what? There's a camera in your face. So you try to spin that 8 or 9 seconds in the shutdown area of collecting your thoughts, but when you win and you got all that, everything jacked up inside your body, it's tough to stay calm.